Now recording.
Well, we've got somebody recording the chat. It's getting a little bit more crowded in here, so I'll grab the mic, start things off a little bit on the introductions. My name's Andrew. I go by Ark. I made this name up just kind of thinking it was cool. I'm into architecture. This is my first time being on a voice chat with a lot of you guys.
That's a cool name you got there. I'll go second. My name is Workerbee. I am at the OSL level of the SIG level of the OSL, and I'm also an admin. It's nice to be here and have this town hall going.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm DK. I'm one of the signers, and I help the OSL with a lot of the things that we do to help our users get the 24/7 support they need and all the resources they need to make use of the critical functions of Osmosis. Just having a hand in developing all that with our admins and our community, the other members.
Mike, also a member of the multi-sig. Some of the stuff I handle is things like more related to our accounting invoices and the multi-sig CLI transactions. Also, I work up invoices for all like everybody we're paying in the upcoming pay cycle. All the signers get together like twice a month, and we pay all of our admins on a bi-weekly schedule. It's all done through CLI right now. So we write, sign, broadcast all transactions for all the payees for that cycle. We also actually post a PDF version of all of the invoices that we write. We keep that in our public share file. It has like some more details regarding payments than like our on-chain memos. Like the best way to use that is if you wanted to look into something, you search the transaction ID or like an invoice number in our shared folder, and it'll pull up all surrounding details for that charge. Or you could search like a receiver's address, and it'll pull up all associated invoices made to that wallet. And then also, after payroll's done, we work up a Excel invoice, Excel report, detailing the expenses for that month. We've done over 600 transactions since the OSL has been created, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, that's some of the stuff I handle, on my side.
Hey everyone, I'm Robo. I think probably a lot of you know me here from Discord. I'm an admin here in Discord, and I'm also an OSL multi-sig signer. With the OSL stuff, I work on a lot of the content, the writing, quality assurance, FAQs, things like that. And yeah, I know a lot of you. This is probably the first time hearing my voice, so it's nice to meet y'all on voice chat.
Hi everyone. I'll come up next. I'm Water Spinner, Tanner, and IRL. I work with OSL on the junior admin level, mainly manning Telegram and also our support chat site. I also work a little bit in Discord when I'm on shift, trying to help out when I can. And I also very much enjoy going to, our conventions, talking to new people, onboarding new people, making new connections. I went out to Austin, which was really, really great, and the permissionless in Florida. And we have Cosmoverse coming up, which will be an amazing time to get a whole bunch of just really smart people all together, kind of just same kind of deal like Hack Adam. I'm just going to be really excited to see everyone get together and hear about the new building that's coming, some new things that might be getting ready for Osmosis and other Cosmos chains. So yeah, just ready to talk about some more town hall stuff and answer any questions that you guys have. And yeah.
Hello guys, I'll go next. It's Tiz here, coming to you from Dublin, Ireland. I'm currently with OSL as an admin manager and a sitting member of the OMM multi-sig. I'm so excited to be here. I think it's going to be a great town hall, and looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Talk to you soon.
All right, we still got a few people left. Who's up next?
Hey everyone, Jason here. I'll go next. Can you hear me?
Hey, Jason.
As you can hear, I'm from South Africa. I'm a junior admin, so I deal mostly on Telegram and I've help desk support. I have a developer background, Web 2.0 mostly. So I'm kind of also like give some of my skills towards some integration that we have with the help desk. Recently, some of the stats I've been pulling and archiving some of our statistics just so that we can have some better reporting in future. Yeah, always looking for ways to apply some of my IRL skill sets. And that's me.
I don't know if anyone saw Kilo's message. Could we get the public so they can chat freely too?
Oh no, they can. They definitely can. I was explaining the difference between why we're in a regular voice channel instead of a stage. By the way, if anyone doesn't know me, hi, I'm Kilo. I'm a junior admin here. I'm mainly on the Discord side of things, and that's where you probably know me from.
This is actually my first Discord chat like this. I think Twitter Spaces are a lot more popular, but I've used Discord a lot. This seems to be a lot higher quality. I'm pretty surprised.
Yeah, Discord. Discord has a great streaming quality, and like even video streaming chats are amazing. You know, like if we got 6 people in here all sharing their screen, you rarely notice downtime, glitching, lagging. Discord's definitely doing it right.
Yeah, we might have to stop with all these Twitter spaces and even Telegram chats. Get back on the Discord grind.
Yeah, this is really and like being able to have all the community together like this makes it. And I personally like being able to do this from my computer. On Twitter Spaces, I always have to use my phone to get on the mic.
I was actually just setting something up the other night, putting Twitter Spaces. I got the Twitter mobile app on my PC, and I was rigging it to work with my mic from my PC. It's nice.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work, but that's awesome.
You guys want to backtrack a bit since it's like 10 now? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's backtrack a little bit and do some more intros. And then after that, I was gonna do a little overview of the upcoming prop and all that stuff.
sounds good. Um, I'll read from our charter just a bit, just so um, everyone here can know clearly what the OSL does, and just get a sense of what the admins are needed for, and we'll share what the multi-sig does, what the senior admins do, junior admins do, all of that that's been asked about for this prop cycle. So we'll get started on that. So let me just read a little bit here about the aim of the support lab. This is from our charter. I'll link it in the chat, and you can access the chat from the lounge of the voice channel here. Okay. Oh boy, it's 11:30 p.m. for you, Rose. Sorry. Thanks for making it. Yeah, she's one of our good admins here. So so are the others all in here. Thank you all for coming. All right, so aim of the support lab. The support lab exists to create and maintain a strong support infrastructure on Osmosis. We work closely together with the community and other network participants to signal new issues rapidly and thereby aid in resolution of the issue as quickly as possible. As the liquidity and popularity of the zone increases, so does the need for support. It is vital to provide round the clock support to ensure new users will stick around long term. And this was, this charter was written for the bear market, and I think it's more important than ever to try to engage and retain our users and ensure that they can use the critical features of Osmosis and that they're getting the help they need from our admins as rapidly as possible. I think that's um, still very much, in line with what we're looking to achieve here. Key focus areas. Yeah, we're providing support 24/7, no matter what time, what channel. There should be a capable admin present to help with an issue. Um, ensure that the admins are working in a sustainable structure, thereby enabling long-term, high-quality support. Um, when during the bull, just anecdotally, I've seen a lot of admins struggle to answer all the questions when the chat was just inundated with users. So when the OSL was established, one of the things that the SIG members wanted to do was recruit good members, knowledgeable, and scale up, so that we can help the users and then meet the mandates of our charter here. Uh, and the last thing we want to focus on is improving new infrastructure and processes. So the format uh,
Hey, you're
I
kind of cutting out there, DK.
oh, am I? Oh,
Just on that
thanks.
last sentence.
Oh, okay. The last point I wanted to add there, it's to improve support-related infrastructure and processes. So, that's vague, right? So let me explain what that specifically looked like. A lot of that functioned around the support site and the resources available there, such as the FAQs, the upcoming instructional guides that we've already developed with a team of the admins, the how-to videos, so that the admins can link this to users as a resource, so they can see, visually exactly how steps are done to accomplish things on the decks. Um, and of course, the live support chat, which was very much needed when, and it's still an issue today, but uh, I'm hoping that it's been reduced with some of the tooling we've implemented on the Telegram. But there are a lot of scammers, and new users, especially during the bull run, and when they would get DM'd by like fake admins, and they will fall for scams. It's one of the primary um, reasons for why the OSL formed in the first place, in my opinion. It was to get rid of that as much as we can, and you know, bring users to a channel that's impervious to scammers. Putting themselves in between our admins and our users. So that's a functionality that we want to keep developing and encourage all our users to use. Um, so yeah, those are the broad um, goals of the OSL here. And we just want to continue to um, grow with the decks and support our users as new features are added. Our admins will be trained in these things. If new dApps are added, they'll invariably have to become familiar with it as users want to use those features. They're always having to train and learn themselves. I know that a lot of the admins, we have like, room where they prep on the Telegram and, before their shifts, and they always have to catch up with what's happened in previous shifts, any, developments on Osmosis or, any other IBC chain because of, how the whole thing's interconnected. So um, these are the kinds of things I think most users just don't aren't privy to or we've discussed with them. So this is your opportunity to ask us and the admins on what they do exactly. Right. So I urge you to you know ask us good questions. Get a sense of what we do, um, and go from there. All right. Thank you. So yeah.
I'll introduce myself. If you were here, like 15 minutes ago, it might be a little bit repetitive, but I kind of want to restate some of it. I'm Mike. I'm a member of the OSL as a multi-signer. I've been a part of the support lab since around November 2021. As new tooling becomes available from teams like Apollo DAO, this will allow us to streamline our process and automate it a little bit more. But right now, a lot of everything is pretty manual. All of our swaps and transactions are handled through command line. And I typically handle and help with like things like those command line transactions, accounting, and things like invoices. We pay our admins on a bi-weekly pay schedule, usually around the 15th and the 30th of every month for the work done for the weeks prior. We also try to include all vendors that are due payments during those pay periods to make sure that everybody is up to date and current on any of the responsibilities we have for them. So I typically work up invoices for all transactions that are coming up in those biweekly pay schedules, and I provide those to the signers. I try to do it, like at least a few days prior to payroll, so that they could double check that everything that we've agreed to prior to pay, and any negotiated rates are, and the invoices and they're correct. Everything's accounted for. And then we get together twice a month and we sign and broadcast all of those transactions. And then also after we post the PDF of these invoices that we put in our public folder, so that it gives a little bit more detail to the transactions. The on-chain memo is kind of limited in what we could add, or it becomes a bit overloaded. So we produce like an invoice in a PDF style, so you could see more details regarding that transaction. And some ways to use our public folder in which we hold all of the invoices is to just search like an invoice number that's in the memo or the transaction hash. And if you just search that in our shared folder, it'll pull up more details surrounding that specific expense. Or you could search a payee's address and it'll pull up all invoices and payments made to that address. After payroll is complete, we work up an Excel document that includes all the spends. We try to break it down by what goes to staff, what goes to web design, what goes to events, and things like that. We're actually working with a community member to make like a more detailed and broken down report regarding our expenses in a very easily digestible format for the community. But yeah, that's a bit about some of the aspects I help on the DAO. A lot of the day-to-day activities we all handle together. It's a lot of coming to consensus and making real-time decisions. It takes up a lot of our day, but this is some of the stuff I do aside from the stuff we all handle together.
Yeah, to add to that, I'm worker B again. But yeah, as far as for the signers, we all kind of tackle it together. We're a group of 5. Most of the time, at least 3 of us are around, and we're kind of interchaining. So we all do crossover work. We all help come to consensus on stuff. We give space for anyone who has an opinion that's not with the group. And that way we really try to be critical on every decision, even as far as reaching out to the admin staff if we need their perspective on things, or even community members if it goes that far. But yeah, all of us also bring to the table some of our own special skills. I'm really good with helping users troubleshoot and providing support and stuff. I'm also looking into trying to make it the most easy for our admin to be able to provide support as well. And that goes as far as I help to put together the chat widget that we use, and that's on the main support site. And then I'm trying to integrate that into all the social channels right now. So I'm trying to kind of like flip Reddit into more of like a flow with Twitter and Facebook and stuff, and kind of group that together so that the teams working on that has the most coordinated flow. And then we're also trying to integrate the chat widget into kind of like Discord as well as Telegram. and just leverage everything we have so that we can all use it together.
I think this is the right time to ask the community if anyone who wants to ask any of us signers in particular any questions. It could be anything regarding our roles or anything like that. Yeah, the floor is open for anyone.
It looks like we do have a question already from Hot Like Sauce. How do payments work to staff and vendors? Do we draw down from USDC in the treasury and convert to dollars, or do we pay in Osmo, sell Osmo to cover costs, etc.?
Sure, I could go over that. Recently, we converted our staff salary to USDC. This was after the exploit. We wanted to guarantee some staff salary. The only way we were able to do and protect ourselves against the volatility for some of those regular payments was to switch in USDC. But we actually pay in Osmo. So the morning of payroll, we calculate what we have to pay out. And this is for our admins and our regular staff. Vendors actually typically get paid in USDC unless they are okay with Osmo. But for admins, we calculate, for example, if we're paying $3,200 a month, that's $1,600 biweekly. So 1,600 times 13 admins. I know what we would have to swap to USDC. I made like a sheet that like kind of does the conversions with us at the real-time Osmo rate, and then the morning we make the swap, and then we pay all of our admins in Osmo, and vendors typically Osmo or USDC, depending on their preference. Does that answer the question okay?
Perfect. He says yes.
Okay, cool.
Nice. We see your
Someone
question,
has a
Adam.
question.
I have a small ask for clarity. Is it okay before we move on? I ask for some clarity on that, Mike, as a
Sure.
junior admin.
Sure.
So I was hearing you say the swap from USDC to Osmo. I thought we were paid directly in Osmo.
You are. So when we get the funding, we get it in Osmo. So what we did is we created a salary reserve. So we said we need to make 3 months of payment for our admins. So we actually converted a portion of our Osmo in USDC to cover the staff salary over this 3-month period. The morning of payroll, we swap back into Osmo and pay the admins in Osmo. So we make a few trades every morning to reduce like the slippage. Like 3 transactions the morning of payroll, and then we do pay in Osmo. So we hold in USDC and then we pay out in Osmo, and that kind of protects us against the real-time volatility. We could guarantee that we are paying the rates that we are hoping to pay.
I'll also just kind of add that this was
Thank
kind of
you.
a new this was kind of a new thing, kind of brought on by the hard lessons that we learned in this bear market. We learned that we need to lock in certain expenses to make it, through the month in the event of a black swan event, like what happened just a few days after our last proposal passed, which was the exploit. Obviously, in the massive price dip that caused.
Yeah, and what we were doing previously is we were kind of just paying a flat rate in Osmo, and there was just like a lot of concerns in that if the price goes too high, then the admins are making an exorbitant amount. If the price goes low, they're making like less than a living wage. So we found that this kind of like protects both sides. It protects the community from having the expenses paid an exorbitant amount going out, and it protects the admins from getting like minimum wage.
Can we share what happened with the reserve? I think that was a question on the Commonwealth that Benny asked that we haven't addressed. What happened to it and how did it get drawn down so fast? If Mike can clarify on that, please.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's kind of we built the reserve to at I think it was like $1.75, and from the time that the prop went up to the time we were able to secure some USDC after the exploit, we had to burn most, if not all, of the salary reserve just to meet even a lower pay band than we initially proposed in the prop, because I think the last prop we had the salary at 4,000 at a minimum for junior admins. After the exploit happened, we were only able to lock in rates at like 3,200 for the junior admins and 4,000 for the senior admins in OSL. So, I mean, even using through the reserve, we weren't able to meet our old minimum band that we had proposed and got passed. So we had to readjust and just be able to lock in what we could for the staff during this period. It was like, from my perspective, one of the most stressful points because, we're trying to, pay everybody what we agreed to pay them during the periods and make sure that we're able to, you know, be able to, the OSL wants to have a really positive product for the community. So it was really hard juggling it with the price volatility. But once we got it into USDC, I was able to sleep a bit more because it almost like guarantees unless something tragic happens with USDC, we are able to pay everybody during this period.
I would just give you guys a timeline of like what's happened there as well. So when our current prop passed, um, basically we quoted Osmo at $1.70, and in the 5 days that the proposal um, uh, was on chain and after it passed, I think it was roughly $1.25 then, and then a few days later, maybe 2 3 days later, the exploit happened. um, and the chain shut down for a few days, and when it reopened, Osmo was at 60 cents, right? So at that point, that just totally like eviscerated our budget, and we could no longer guarantee the pay bands that we set forth to we set out to pay in the proposal. So that's when we decided that okay, um, we can't make payroll right now, so we have to, start thinking about pay cuts, headcount reductions, and things like that, right? So, that's what transpired there with the reserve. It was just totally decimated when those when the bear market hit and the exploit happened and things like that. So hopefully, Benny, you got an answer to that if you're here, right? So yeah.
Hey,
And I see the question.
Benny's here.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks, Benny.
that.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem. We
I
answer all
want
your questions you
I
copy
want
of?
I
Yeah, go
wanted to follow up with one question. Could you explain like the difference or the reasoning behind issuing payments in Osmo compared to USDC? Like what's the pros and cons of each?
Um, okay, I can answer that, I guess. So for the reason we pay in Osmo and emphasize Osmo if we can help it is that we want to show confidence in the project, right? That we pay our own admins in the denomination that our DEX uses, right? So I think that's really the primary reason. Honestly, it would be a lot easier for Mike for budgeting purposes and for payroll purposes to just use USDC, but a lot of the members here, we insist that we want to show we have skin in the game and that we're not only support staff here, but we're here for the longevity and the health of the ecosystem as well. So that's what I think one of the reasons we want to do it. To show people that we're getting paid in the denomination um, that we've been tasked to like support. I mean, for the decks that that's counting on us for support and ensure that uh you know um yeah. So sorry, yeah, I don't
No,
have
that
much.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Uh, is it
go
like
on.
a option? Can OSL members decide to get paid in
um
Osmo or versus USDC?
we currently don't offer that option. We make that swap for everyone. And it's up to them to use that that Osmo that they get paid in the way they see fit. But currently, we are paying all our admins in Osmo, and I think that's something that Sunny earlier on asked us to do. That it's probably a good idea that you guys have skin in the game, right? And that you're working towards improving the price of Osmo, and because you're onboarding users and helping to retain them, right? So I totally agree with that sentiment. So we agreed to do it that way for now. And, unless things change from like a legal front or anything that we haven't anticipated like that. Um, I personally like to keep it that way. If that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I guess the only reason why I bring it up is just because, from funding round to funding round, the difference is just like
Yeah, that is a.
stability. So
Mhm.
if a particular OSL member, wants more predictable income or more stability in their monthly payments or whatever, um, USDC obviously would be better for that, but I definitely understand the reasoning in paying an Osmo as well.
Yeah, and it leads to our Osmo ask per prop varying widely, even if it's like about the same, let's say. As you can imagine, because of the price volatility, when like our prop ask will be different when Osmo was at $5 or $9 versus what it is now. So like it looks like we're, in Osmo it looks like we're asking for a lot more, right? But it was roughly, I guess, in line with what it used to be in USD, right? The USD value. So but that's unavoidable, I think, because the community pool contains USD. I'm sorry, Osmo. So what can you do about that, right? But it does kind of make it seem like the ask is going up and up and up, um, and then it's hard to like you just get that sticker shock, when they see that kind of ask. Yeah, I hope you can understand what I mean there.
Yeah, and if I can just add, Benny, from admin to admin, they know when payroll is coming. So if they need to cash out to pay some bills or do anything like that, they can obviously sell the Osmo if they'd like to, and they have notice of that in advance if they'd like to do that.
I think we have another question regarding um, the overlap in staff between the OSO and the OMM, right? So I can cover that. So just wanted to first um, bring up that we do have two signers currently who are both senior admins and OSO members. And the way that came to be is that they were so let me give specifics here. Robo was a Discord mod um, since before the inception of the OSL, um, and he and Alice they've been working without pay for months, and it's for me it was one of the reasons why I wanted to join the OSO and like get a team going and compensate them for the work they're doing. So he so when the first OSO prop failed, and it didn't, and then we had some members drop out. Um, I also dropped out at that point, but I was asked to come back in. Um, I thought, based on what I saw with, how Rob was doing and his dedication to helping our users, that he would make a great member of, you know, like helping to organize the support staff and help run it. So I reached out to him, right? So that's how that came to be. And then, when he abstained from the vote, but when our second prop did pass, he abstained from the vote, but the other members decided that yeah, it will be Alice and Robo who will first be our senior Discord admins because they've been there from the start. Before even the chain launched, I think, or somewhere close to that. Am I right about that, Robo? Like you were there before even the chain launched, I think, or that was just Alice.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the Discord since, basically since well before the chain launched. But Alice was
I see.
here.
Yeah.
She was the first, the
The
first
architect.
admin. Yeah, exactly. And I'd been around helping out, and Alice basically she noticed me, and Senpai noticed me, and she she brought me in, and to help out, and I've been a mod here ever since.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So I personally reached out to Robo saying that, look, I would love to have you on this team, right? So that's how that happened with Robo, and with Worker Bee, his situation is a little bit different. He was hired in like the third hiring round as a junior. I noticed him on Reddit, right? Really supporting users with and he wasn't an admin at that point. He was just doing it because he had the ability to, and we just didn't have staff at that point in time to even go on Reddit, really. So when that application process went out, calling for admins to apply, prospective admins to apply, um, uh, he did, and I think I vouched for him. GP, along with Yoda, one of our the first two like OG admins, he vetted him very thoroughly, right? And once he was brought on board, he was like a superstar. Like he, as a junior, he like took on the tooling for our customer bot, and he was helping users like for long periods of time and giving like really good support. And um, this was when he was not an OSL member yet, right? Just to be clear. Um, we decided that we wanted to promote some of the admins to senior admin status for the kind of like tooling work they do or additional work they do beyond what all juniors do. Um, so we went ahead with that, and then at some point towards the end of our first prop cycle, around December or so, I'd say, or early late December, early January, we had an incident with one of the members that we decided to oust. We voted to do so, and with the remaining four members, we were looking for a fifth member, right? And we decided why not ask Worker Bee, right, to help us, um, you know, to help us run this team, because he's so good at what he does. So by that point, we've promoted him to senior, right? And then when that, you know, vacancy in the membership um, occurred with the OSL, that's when we reached out to B, and it took some convincing because he was worried that it's going to take him away from his admin duties, and we were saying you could probably do both if you focus, and we'll show you like exactly what we do to help run this team, and we think you're a good fit for this, right? So after like 2-3 days, he accepted. So that's how it came to be, and we added him to the next prop, and it was approved by governance, right? So that's how the two members right now in the OSL, who are also seniors, came to be, right? So just wanted to make that clear. Basically, they were, you know, they just distinguished themselves to have certain talents that we would need to help manage the team, and they stepped up, right? So now um, after with the OMM, after the first OMM roster, changed significantly, and they were going for V2. Um, we already had our admin Aaron and Kitch um, on staff. Tismi was already uh, in the first OMM, and he stayed. Um, so Aaron and Kitch, you know, they were recruited to join the OMM V2, and that's how they because they were already admins for months by that point, doing great work. So when that came through, they became both admins and SIG signers on the OMM, right? So those are the um, those are the overlaps in terms of like who's both an admin and a signer. So I hope that answers the question there. Okay, who asked that? Was it? I just want to
That was
clarify
Ed.
with Ed. Ed, did I answer your question thoroughly enough, or do you have any follow up questions, Ed?
I had something to add, just really quick. The OSL and the OMM co-own a blog that I think a lot of you are probably aware of. It's called Osmosis Community Updates. I'll post a link to it in the chat. I'm the editor of that blog. Basically I own the blogs and I help OMM and OSL run it. So there's a little crossover there. I think that's actually really one of the more amazing initiatives that we do together. There's not a lot of crossover, but this is definitely one aspect of it that I'm really proud of as the editor of that blog. And I think marketing and OSL are as well.
Okay, I'm just scrolling up through the chat to see if there are more questions here. Am I missing any?
That's a very interesting question there, the one about bringing in more than just retail.
Bringing in more than just retail investors, like
Yeah, let me. Are
yeah,
you just talking about like basically everyone, like retail investors, business investors, stuff like that?
I mean, I'm just reading out this guy here, hot like five sauces question.
Targeted beyond retail. Yeah, so we definitely are shooting to be like the go-to crypto DEX. We just recently had a meeting with some of the foundation members, and we were taking a look at the support website we had made. They've also done their own trial runs where they took people who has never even dealt with crypto before and asked them to log on to Osmosis and see how comfortable they are using it. So what we're doing is we're going to start coming together and we're going to work on educational resources and like a really comfortable user experience so that you can take anyone, give them Osmosis, and then without any help from you guys or just in general, you just click on Osmosis, and with the admin resources and support resources and all that, they'll be able to get into crypto, start buying some assets. We're going to have the IBC capabilities, so we'll have assets from the entire ecosystem. And we're really hoping to be positioned to be one of those go-to user-friendly, you're new to crypto, come join on this. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, it definitely does. Thanks a million. I wonder, would I be able to ask a question? It's a little bit unrelated, but I just saw a post recently about Near Protocol possibly integrating IBC, and I wonder how that would be taken in by Osmosis, or is that something we're allowed to speak about here?
Is Near Protocol on its own chain, or is it with Ethereum?
I actually think it might be coded on Solidity. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure actually about that, but I know that somehow integrating an IBC network and that would allow them to interact with most of, with the Cosmos ecosystem in general. I was wondering, does anyone here have any opinions on that? Because I mean, that's $300 million project that will have a lot of liquidity.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's kind of the goal. With IBC, we can host any asset at all. It's just a matter of either building bridges for non-finality chains, or finality chains can just do direct IBC themselves. And yeah, Osmosis is looking to kind of position everything. So that's kind of where we're shooting for is to host all projects. I don't know if most people realize, but the entire Cosmos ecosystem, they're kind of positioning themselves to really onboard some of the Ethereum projects as means of just kind of being an upgrade to how state machines are functioning. Instead of just the entire state machines being run on one core chain, branching off into app chains, application-specific chains. And so Cosmos is really trying to position itself so that all these old projects can easily come on over into the Cosmos and get some of those developers out here and definitely some of the money.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it's not just Near Protocol. It's Polkadot parachains are also working on this. And a lot of other projects, and I think that Osmosis will probably end up supporting all of them. The layer one tokens might be a little bit easier to natively integrate, but I think the real interesting question will be what about the projects building on top of those layer ones? Or even the projects building on top of those layer twos. Probably a little bit more complicated, but I know that, I'm sure Sunny and the rest of the team will be focusing on getting that stuff integrated once the relevant channels are in place.
I can say that Matic, I think it's Polygon, they are looking for like a interoperable layer 2. So, or like a chain agnostic layer 2. So I think they have the foresight of seeing that this is coming, seeing that layer 2s are a thing, not only just able to transfer smart contracts and stuff from Ethereum, but then Matic would be able to kind of like bring any layer 2 over. I think the main goal would just be a focus of fungibility. We're kind of experiencing that right now with the bridges, where because of the bridge technology, we have multiple forms of USDC right now. And so that's going to be one of the main focuses, is to make that a clean experience for your average user, so that we can have these layer 2s and layer 1s without this weird fungibility issue.
There was a question in chat that Sneedpilled had that I thought was actually a pretty good one. He wanted to know if, when projects build on Osmosis, if we're going to be providing any sort of support for those projects as well. That's definitely something we're planning on, and I think one thing that's really helpful for people to understand is Osmosis is sort of the center of this ecosystem right now. Osmosis touches, literally every aspect, every project in the IBC ecosystem. So to an extent, that these projects are interacting with Osmosis, we end up being sort of IBC support, right? We help people with questions for projects that touch Osmosis, projects that are going to be building on it. Absolutely. We plan on learning more about these projects as they develop, and then providing support as best we can.
Just circling back to the roles, because I saw a question from Luis. Just wanted to answer this one. So let me read the question. Hold up, scrolling back up. My question is, what plans are there to remove overlap? For instance, Robo is on OSL, OMM, block writer, and lastly OSL multi-sig signer. All right. So for this question, just again, with Robo, he's a senior admin at the OSL. He has been, from the very beginning. And when we asked him to join us, we didn't want to ask him to step down to be from being an admin, because he was like instrumental to helping users that are on Discord. And this was at that point where like there's barely any support. It was just Robo and Alice before we had Jeremaic and Kilo and um, Moon, Shivas, right? Before these guys were working on the Discord, right? So like Robo still helps to run Discord support. So it's not as if like he just has like multiple positions and doesn't do independent work for them. They, like both, B and Robo, they clearly know which task is has to be done as an OSL member, right? Because we need their input, because we run on consensus, right? Nobody, we're co-equal members, and we need 3 out of 5 of us to agree on something. And sometimes it gets contentious. We have different opinions about what we want funded, or we have different feelings about how the community might feel about certain initiative, and we let each other know that, right? So, like, they definitely participate in the decision making, the governance component of it. the running of our projects and initiatives that they take point on. And they have, a separate role as admins that they fulfill. They take on shifts. They do the tasks that seniors have to handle. And also, uh, there's some overlap with, let's say, like the admin manager's roles in like helping with the schedule and helping with the tooling and all things like that. Like everyone, like there's there's a lot of people contributing towards the success of many things, right? So just wanted to point out that our plan isn't to and even if we replace role with someone else, it'd be hard to like or be with someone else. Their skill sets are not easy to really, or not really easy to um, get, right? So like, if they're able to perform both functions without, a, an appreciable decrease in quality of any kind, in my opinion, then I don't really see the need for it. But now, if it were otherwise, let's say both of their roles are now uh, getting in the way of them performing their best in either one of them, then yeah, I would have a problem with that, right? But I'm very happy with these members that um, do both of their roles, their independent roles, very well. Um, right. So I hope that answers your question, Louise. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's clear now. Thank you, DK.
you're very welcome. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for the signers before we ask some of the like our admin manager and our juniors and seniors to speak? You could do it on voice chat. You could do it in the chat, text chat, and we'll make sure we answer all your questions. So the plan, guys, is to put the prop on chain on Monday. Over the weekend, a lot of us will be just giving a courtesy notice to the validators that yeah, we're going on chain. It's that time again. Quarterly props. Um, yeah, so that's what we'll be doing, and then on Monday. Um, we'll try to incorporate some of their feedback, show them how like we were responsive to the community, and hopefully they'll see that, answer any of their questions for those who couldn't make it to the town hall today. And then, the plan is to go on chain with the prop on Monday. Yeah, Monday morning. Okay, I see some more questions coming in. Let me just see.
Hey, someone just asked, what about support for Twitter? Between Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and we're going to kind of mix and match the media so that we can take questions from Reddit, put it over onto Twitter, and vital information from Twitter, throw it onto Reddit as well. So we can kind of cross share those communities and make sure the sport's getting out there. We're also with the chat widget that we have on the main support site. The backend company for that we use, they actually allow for integration into Twitter. And so like right now, if you tweet the OSL Twitter account, the admin who are running the chat widget will actually get those messages as well. And so we're working on some more integration into that, but we're hoping so that, you can tweet any of the Osmosis Twitter accounts, even the main one, and then our admin who are running the chat widget will actually be able to answer those directly for you.
I'll take in the mic now. My name's Ark. I'm a junior admin. I spend a lot of my time on Reddit and our support chat widget. I also do Telegram as well, but mainly I was picked up from Reddit, and now I've helped B. We are running tight crew now that we've cut so many staffing off. It's really just me and him now, down to the main moderators. I see Felix had some really good questions. In Siberia, there's a lot of talk, and one of the things that OSL tries to deal with is communications. There are a lot of different documents and people providing information out there. One thing I tried to start, we haven't had very much um, energy put into it. It's a bit of a side project, but the OSL and some members, such as Felix and Toggle, helped start the Osmosis wiki. The goal of this is to eventually grow to be a community, not community owned and community sourced information hub, where you'll be able to find neutral and reliable information on the whole ecosystem, not just Osmosis. This could someday be integrated by the main Osmosis Foundation, similar to how the support chat has begun to. This would be if the product of the wiki begins to grow and has the standards of quality that we uphold for Osmosis. Some of that stuff is just being done on a volunteer basis right now. I know that Toggle and Felix and all of us have a little Telegram group. We're keeping track of what they've spent on hosting and the domains and stuff. But this is something that gets slotted into what people ask, what our day in and day out is. It's not just support. We're also trying to build the technology that furthers the ecosystem and Osmosis.
Thanks, Sark. That was, really good. So I think, it would help some users to understand, because the other admins and the OSL members, we get to see the kind of things you need to do in order to help users sometimes. I was hoping that, some of the admins can share some of the stories, concerning like what support work really looks like. I know there have been, people who've been dismissive about the work, saying things like, you guys just sit in the chat all day, right? And like, share links to videos. It's, that's, I think really insulting to what the admins really do. So if some of the admins can just volunteer to share, any stories they have, or anything that you know um, will help illustrate to to our community the kind of work that they have to do to help users. That'd be great. Remember, good support will help to onboard liquidity. It will help to retain users and continue the engagement, especially during a bear. Right, we don't want people to come back to Osmosis, when this is over, and see that, like, the chats are dead. There has been no new material or growth or features added. That's the last thing that we want, right? So if some of the admins can just chime in there, and give our community like a rundown of what their day can look like, that'd be come on, admins, don't be shy. Someone.
Yeah. Hey guys. I'm Water Spinner. I'm one of the junior admins. I work on Telegram and also man our support site. Um, some of the things that I deal with will be uh, maybe like a false IBC transaction, or yesterday was um, SCRT did they have changed some endpoints, and we need to on our front end some things need to be updated. Uh, so I had to assist some users in finding other ways to withdraw and deposit their SCRT. Some of them were manual IBC transactions where you're walking a user through finding the channel that they need to send that asset through to make sure that it's a fungible asset, coming onto a native chain. Um, these are things that, yes, they might be able to find themselves, but it's not something that you can just easily Google and you can't just Google what channel you need to use to IBC Juno from Osmosis chain back to Juno, right? And that's something that if you come into our, come into the Telegram, come to our support site, all of our admins can answer that instantaneously. Can help you find those assets, make sure that you can stay in a calm manner and continue using IBC and seeing the glory that that there is with all the assets that are transferable like that. We also help with compromised wallets. People can we can help people if they do have a compromised wallet. We are we have ways that we can help them possibly get some of those staked funds back if they're if they're still there. That's something that's a hugely valuable service. That's much more beyond just a simple posting of a cat gif. Um, so yeah, yeah. That in a day that's that's something that we'll go through for sure. Is much more than just gifs and keeping a nice atmosphere and engaging atmosphere on the back end in the admin chats and admin chats and things like that. Um, there are a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes. And actually uh, on Commonwealth, I think it was Robo that posted. Actually, let me take a look at that again. Um, yeah, it was Robo that actually posted one of our admins that recently had to help a user get their Axel USDC to their Terra Station wallet. Um, anyways, after a whole bunch of troubleshooting and going through, um, there was instructions for them to actually input commands into their command terminal. So they're in their console tab. So things like
Yeah,
that.
me and Mackinac, neither of us were working at the time. We had to coordinate with Terra moderators as well. And oh gosh, there was so much to it. And the whole time there wasn't anything going on in the group chat on Telegram, but it's just all going on behind the scenes, which I don't think people realize is a lot more than what you can see in the Telegram chat at the time.
Yeah. So I think that there's definitely a lot of value to what is being done here. You know, and past that, the OSL and altogether the 24/7 live support, that's something that uh, we're kind of becoming somewhat of a IBC support in general, where um, it's I feel like because Osmosis is a DEX that deals with all Cosmos chains, if somebody is needing to well say unwrap something on secret, they might not be getting the support they need immediately in immediately from a secret chat or something. They might be getting lost in there, and if they come to Osmosis and ask us how to move these things, it's somewhat kind of expected, I guess, that we should be able to help them move those assets over. So in turn, we're learning other chains and how to interact with those chains and do things past just face value of transacting Osmo on our decks, right? Um, so
Thank
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Senator Bro.
Hey, God.
Yeah,
Hey, sorry, guys. Can I just add? It's Jason. Yeah, I'm also a junior admin. Just some of the behind the scenes things that you don't see. Just to add on to what Water Spinner was saying there. You know, you have users with different levels of understanding of crypto, blockchain. Some of them are like power users coming from Ethereum, and others are brand new into crypto. So, especially with something that's brand new to them, it's quite a big learning curve, And so, something that I try to do is to educate users as they're getting help. So they'll come to us with a problem. It'll take some investigating a lot of the time, digging into like block explorers, figuring out exactly what their question is, because a lot of the time they're not even sure how to articulate the problem that they've been experiencing. then when we realize what the issue is, just to try and give them like prevent them from doing it again, rather just educate them a bit. And they are so grateful for that. And it goes a really long way. And then just another thing, for instance, if there's an issue with another chain, maybe some of the user journey is broken. So like if another chain's interface is, say, not working 100% with Keplr or something, we often get in touch with people on these other chains, in different Telegram groups and Discords, just to figure out, hey, is there something going on that we're not aware of? And as soon as we know, because we're on different shifts throughout the 24/7, relaying that information amongst ourselves internally so that we're all on the same page. Between our shifts, we have like a handover where we say, okay, this is what happened in the day. Anything that's kind of noteworthy, that's maybe a ongoing issue, just so that we're not we're all on the same page, basically. And it also helps with turnaround time. It helps us to say, hey, this problem's been ongoing for quite a while now. How about we escalate it to see what we can do? And oftentimes we've got things solved because of the collaboration amongst ourselves as support agents. And I'm not a person for radio. I'll get stage fright. So this is quite surprising. Cool. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, what Jason is saying right now is probably the message we want to convey to the community the most. It's not a matter of just sitting on our support channels and answering questions. There's constant back end work where we're all in collaboration. Honestly, if 3 users come in, one on Discord, one on Reddit, one on Telegram, I mean, we know right away, okay, that's 3 users just came in with this issue. We need to investigate a little further. And that could take us all the way down into like IrisNet's developer chat, talking with them about a specific situation. And so that kind of increases the response time from the developers across all of IBC, not even just Osmosis, but specifically Osmosis 2, to where, like a good example is gas configurations might go off on Keplr to where people are starting to get gas issues. Within an hour, we'll have those configurations adjusted, and most users won't even know that that's something that is constantly being adjusted. So even just beyond, the minimal stuff, we're also finding some of the bigger issues that users are facing, or the confusing stuff, and reporting these to the developers. And it's helping to kind of mold the chains and the ecosystem in a way that caters to the experience of everyone.
Yeah, so that's something that B just touched on. I want to add to the admins. If users are all complaining about this one particular issue, and it's on our like front end, like Osmosis front end issue there, then they'll escalate that issue to the devs so that they can resolve it, right? So that's something I find to be like really essential for what the admins do, because they're like the first in line to like know about it from like some affiliation with the OSL. And then after we've been informed about it, and if we see that the issue is serious enough to escalate to the team, we'll go ahead and do that so that it can get resolved, right? And the team is quite responsive to these kinds of issues. It could be like topography issues. It could be like the values of certain um, uh, you know tokens are not showing up properly, things like that, or like all addressed like behind the scenes, so that the dex is functioning the way our users expect it to, right? So that's another I think value that the admins bring that's beyond just manning their shifts. And
Yeah,
I have a screenshot here just to show you, like, the kind of things that, like the admins and talk to with the devs. Um, you see it in the chat. That's just the most recent messages there. Yeah.
yeah. I wanted to jump in here and say it goes a bit beyond even the user experience, because especially when we have tools and utilities such as Frontier, we will have newer tokens, newer chains that are being listed. and there will be a problem with people trying to withdraw or transfer tokens in or out. And these newer, smaller places might not have the native user flow to even realize there's a problem. So there are times where a relayer goes down or a channel is congested, and we'll reach out to someone and they'll be like, oh no, we'll get on that. We had no idea. So it helps to make a more cohesive ecosystem. And touching back a little bit on the education and teaching users that was being spoken of earlier, personally, when I'm working with someone in a support ticket or wherever I happen to be at, as I go through the steps of effectively doing my job and helping and providing support, I will give them links and say, okay, I'm looking at your account here on MetScan. Here's what I see. Here's how you can do it. I'm going to pull your CSV to show your transaction history. I'm usually pretty good at showing state tax. Those guys are great. And I'll say, here's where you go. Here's how you can do it. And I try to give users that I interact with the tools to not really do it themselves, but to better understand how things work so that they don't put themselves in a bad position in the future.
Yeah, making announcements when like, hey guys, stop doing it this way because you're gonna lose your funds. Like that kind of stuff. If it's like a large enough issue, the admins will all like coordinate to get that kind of message out. It's all about making the experience good for our users and informing them of any issues that they might face, so that they don't run into it if they can avoid it. All of this is really key to a good experience. And yeah. So I think you guys have a sense of like what the admins are doing, and um, like what you don't get to see. A lot of the work happens back there, just so that when the inquiries do come in, they're knowledgeable, they're getting prompt help, and often, it could be simple issues, it could be, or other times, they could be recovering their funds that that they thought they permanently lost, right? Stuff like that. Um, yeah. So hopefully that's giving you guys a good sense of what they've done for the community so far. Okay. Um, what's next? Or are there any other anecdotes that anyone wants to chime in with? Yeah.
Well, if we can pivot a little bit, I want to talk a little about the community incentives program, because I think that that's a really valuable addition that gets overlooked. This is a way that we can get community funds directly back into the hands of community members. And I do have a little bit to talk about it with respect to the Discord end, but I want to let Worker Bee start with the Reddit end of things.
Yeah. So on the Reddit side for community engagement, we kind of keep track of users that are answering questions. Generally across Reddit, everyone loves to help out. So we try to keep track of who's answering questions, who's offering good support, giving good details. Also, even just having good conversation of like bringing in good topics, bringing in good information, showing some type of drive and passion for the project, just like the rest of us. And so we'll keep track of these guys, and then once a month, at the end of each month, we'll actually compile a list, and we'll come up with about 3 to 5 winners for that month, and we'll reward them with some Osmo, and we'll also give them a badge to kind of show that just to kind of show that they can be trusted from a perspective of a new user coming in and seeing that this user has an Osmo tag on their name. So if they're giving you advice on something, a new user who's not experienced would trust this person more because of the Osmo tag on them.
If you want, I can talk a little about that too before we pass it back to Robo, because I do help a lot
Go
with
ahead, Art.
the engagement on
Yeah,
Reddit.
sounds good.
Big help in this.
Earlier in the year, we had about 6, or I think it was 7 if we count the very first, right before Terra. We would vote, so it was very democratic, and we had a lot of people to choose from. But we've trimmed it down now to just B and I, picking between the 3 to 5 people, and we are sorting, like he said, for not just content of helpfulness and engagement, but thoughtfulness too. So even if people are offering controversial advice, we do consider that stuff. We also do try to limit it to just community members. So if you're like from Citadel, or if you're with Posthuman, or if you're with the Stake Osmo crew, we kind of don't like give the validators the rewards. This is really just meant for like a normal person who's like there are a lot of people who are social media managers, or they're marketers. These aren't the target members for the community engagement program. One of the times we actually gave the rewards because the person helped save an NFT kind of OTC trade gone wrong, and that was really, that was a really cool community thing to do. So we gave that member the grand award that month, and that was cool to see. We were able to give back to somebody who had helped another community member.
Yeah, and on the Discord end, we've kind of taken a little bit of a different approach. We've been using that fund to help foster engagement through events. I know a lot of you probably remember the art competition we had in here in Discord. That was funded by this program. We had a trivia night that Kilo hosted, also funded by the community engagement program for Discord. And we do have an upcoming event. We haven't been using that fund lately because we're sort of saving it for a pretty significant event that we have coming up soon. It's been announced, but not really talked about in great detail yet. And Hilo, if you're here, I'd like to kind of bring you up to talk a little bit more about it, because for everyone that doesn't know, Kilo is sort of the mastermind behind this event that we've got coming up. Basically planned it from start to finish, and we're going to have some pretty cool speakers coming up to speak at this event as well. So, Kilo, if you're here and you want to take a couple minutes to talk about it.
Sure. Yeah, the event that we have coming up, it's been I started working on it with some of the team members from Axelar at OsmoCon. So it's been in the works that long. It's we want to put together a community initiative on basically education. We want people to be able to come in and be educated on what a project is and how a project works. When I was at OsmoCon and Consensus, a lot of the speaking events and a lot of the presentations that were being set out was effectively just, tech demos and trying to tell people, basically trying to drive sales, like, hey, we do this, you should invest in us, you should come to us. That's not really the direction that I wanted to take with this. I wanted something to where someone could come in and say, here's what we were doing with Osmosis, or here's what we were doing on Osmosis, here's how you can use it, and here's how it benefits you. That's kind of the narrative of what I've been going over. We just announced it the other day on Twitter. And when I was putting this together, I started reaching out to people. It was just going to be a small event. It was just originally it was supposed to be, us and Axelar talking about what we do. And someone said, hey, you should reach out to, Andromeda. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I started reaching out to a couple of people. I said, hey, would you be interested in joining? And it kind of snowballed into a much larger thing than I had anticipated, but I'm very excited for it. So we've, as Robo said, set back some stuff. We've got some cool stuff to give away. I teased on Twitter that the Osmo NFT team has pitched in to give some cool stuff away. Axelar is doing some giveaways. We'll have, some games to play. We're going to open it up with a couple of our moderators battling head to head. That ought to be fun for the community to see. We're going to do some quiz events, and it's going to be Osmosis versus Axelar in a quiz, which will be cool. But the main point of it is for our speakers, such as, Yieldmost, they'll be there, and they'll be telling people who they are and what they do and how to use the platform. And Sunny will be coming, and Sunny's going to speak. I'm not exactly sure the entire substance of what he's going to speak about yet, but it should stay in line with here's what we have and here's how you use it, because I think that's what is important in the community. is education. So that's kind of the theme that we're going to take with this. When we do launch this event on the 3rd, we are going to split it between our Discord server and Axlar's Discord server for the events, the games, and everything else. If you didn't want to do the Discord thing, that's cool. For the speakers, we will be streaming it through Axlar's YouTube channel. So if you're not a Discord fan, you don't have to be here, but it'd be, it'd be really fun to have as many people turn up as we can so we can get some engagement. And we also want to get some feedback. We're going to try to reserve some time for some Q&A at the end of every speaking session, but we don't want, speakers just running into each other and it taking forever. So we're going to try to reserve some time for some Q&A. And if we have enough time towards the end, whoever wants to stay, effectively, whoever wants to stick around towards the end, we'll probably just open it up to an open lounge to where people can talk and get their questions asked and try to get some one-on-one time with any of these awesome teams that we're working with. So yeah, that's pretty much all the information that I have about it right now. If there's any questions or if you need to know anything else about it, feel free to reach out and ask. I will do my best to answer it.
Thank you,
Did you mention
Kilo.
prizes, Kilo? Sorry.
What's up?
Did you mention any prizes, Kilo?
Yeah, the OSMO team has given us some awesome NFTs to give out.
You
Really
guys
good.
heard that? Osmo NFTs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good highlight
Hey,
there.
Axlar's pitching in with some prizes of their own too, which is kind of cool.
what are they giving out?
We got a couple of Axlar NFTs to give away here shortly. I know that's one thing, and I believe
Oh,
they
logo.
might be sponsoring a grand prize for some of our event winners as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much, Kilo, for taking point on that. On our end, really appreciate it. Really do. Education really is part of what the OSO does as well. We want to empower users to be able to use all the the more advanced features that are coming on board. That's definitely not easy to show users how to use there. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Is there anything we need to share from the OSO? And guys, should we talk about how recently we've been working with the Osmosis front end team?
Really
To
quickly, I think Joey had a question. We better he's itching to talk, so we better let him jump up here.
Okay, yeah, Joey, you have the floor.
I just want to thank the full Osmosis support team for always responding very fast and being a great addition to the Osmosis community. And I will not chill, so I will only say thank you all, guys.
Appreciate it, Joey.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback. Appreciate it.
We'll keep it up. Team is here. Okay. Let me share something with you guys. We're basically trying to make like an interactive onboarding guide for our users, right? So it's going to be an even tighter integration than what we have with the support site right now. So it's all still in the developing stages. We have our in-house like artist on board, and he'll be helping to like animate some of these things and create some of the resources. Soon we'll probably have to get together a working group, like a subcommittee of admins, who need to develop like the actual like text and the content of like how to do certain things. Perhaps we'll show users how to like LP in an interactive way, like and it'll be like an overlay on the site. Perhaps we're not sure what the form will take. I'm just giving examples for the moment. So all of this is being storyboarded right now, and then once we have like a clearer picture of when V1 of that will roll out, we'll update the community. It's something we're very excited to work with the front end team on, so that again, uh, it's going to empower users to be able to use the features on their own, and it's showing up it's integrated into the site itself, right? And of course, if they have any questions regarding any of the processes or how any of it works, they can reach out to the admins, right? So that's something that it's collaborative and it's a team effort to make Osmosis work well for everyone. So that's something that we'll be working on this upcoming quarter as well. I guess I could share the project scope if I'll send it in the chat, guys. Yeah. Someone else can take the floor. I'm just gonna go find the link.
Are there any questions for the junior admins? We haven't had any directed at us.
I have one question. What is the official browser used by the Osmosis support team?
So we don't actually support official use of programs between our staff, but I do know we share good security tips amongst ourselves. So, for example, I will always open certain things in Brave. I always use a custom Chrome profile when I'm doing certain things related to work. I've built a lot of the profiles and accounts that I've used for Osmosis completely from scratch so that they're isolated from other ways I might be insecure on the internet, perhaps through my personal life or other things. I know others don't do the personal life stuff on their Osmosis accounts too. So we all kind of share these better internet security practices, even if we don't all use the same platforms to do that.
Yeah, the only thing that we officially support for us and users is any Chromium-based browser. You have to be using a Chromium-based browser for the Keplr extension and other extensions to work. So that'll be Chrome, Opera, or Opera, Brave, Dissenter, any of those types that are Chromium-based. That's the only thing that we officially support because that's what you have to get those extensions to work.
Yeah, we actually kind of look at a lot of stuff too as points of failure. So we generally don't stick to just one option for stuff. An example is like block explorers. We have MintScan, but we also use ping.pub. There's AtomScan. So we try to, everything has issues. And when we're running support 24/7, even an hour of an issue with a specific app or resource, we have to have alternatives to be able to pivot throughout the day.
Do you guys on the support channel sometimes get people that are just trolling you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Oh, isn't that you, bro?
No, it's just you. It is. He is one of the main ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So the admins, they always have to be sincere when on the support chat. It doesn't say who the person is. It just has a random name. So even if the same user returns, you don't necessarily know about that. So Joey would sometimes test our admins to see if they're gonna respond and things like that. Keeping us on our toes, I guess. Just seeing that it's a real function. It's not just you know um it's not like just a pumpkin chat or something. It's actually functioning and working and usable for our users. So I found that to be amusing. But the admins not so much lately. They've been like, it's Joey, probably Joey. So that's what he's referring to right now. Just trolling us still.
Let me talk about our chat widget. As far as user profile and stuff, we specifically chose to go the route where we're not collecting any personal data from anybody. Even if you just go up to collect that you need support or click the button that you need support, it's just going to let you start talking right away. It's not going to collect any personal information. It's not going to ask for a login. It's not going to ask for any of that. And then on the back end of stuff, whatever info you are telling us, sometimes people will share transaction hashes so we can look into wallets and see error codes and stuff like that. All that information is automatically deleted within 2 weeks of the ticket. So we're not putting any of you guys at risk for anything coming in and asking for help.
That's very nice, because now I use a certain VPN I will not name, and clear my browser history to make a new chat so it doesn't get linked to me.
We still know it's
We'll
you,
be-
Joey.
We'll be ready for you, Joey. Yeah. And if you have questions about the deck stuff, we'll answer them, bro.
Yeah, we
I-
can
I
never be
wanna-
sure. So we just have to take every call serious.
I want to go back real quick to the getting trolled question, because I got a good story about this. About a time I actually got wrecked by a troll in this Discord. In the reports scammer channel, we have like a place where people can report report users that are DMing them to scam them. Somebody came into that channel and posted a screenshot. Okay, here's this person. They're scamming me. And they posted their Discord ID so I could ban them. Well, I didn't check who the Discord ID belonged to before banning them. And so I just went and banned that ID. Well, that ID actually belonged to Moons, another one of our mods here, and I believe that was his first. I believe that was his first day on the job too. Definitely his first week. So his his first week on the job, he got banned.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty funny.
I just thought
Yeah.
I'd share that, because that we all had a pretty good laugh about that at the time.
Yeah, so it breaks the I guess the mundaneness of offering is just support. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's similar issues, and then once in a while you run into stuff like that. It spices the day up, I guess, right? But,
Yeah, definitely. I
Yep.
like when I get a challenging issue. I mean, most of the stuff I can handle like 3-4 people at a time, just kind of answering basic questions. But I really enjoy when a user comes in with a unique issue, and I really like from this perspective too, where I go out and I'll find a developer for a specific chain, and then I'm asking them about what's going on, and they'll teach me what's going on. So it's also pretty awesome for me to be in this position to learn what's going on. But yeah, that stuff makes the day a lot better too.
Yeah, to an extent, and let this be kind of a preemptive PSA of when you can avoid it, please don't use advanced IBC transfers. But one of the things that is quite interesting and challenging and engaging, like V was talking about, is when a user comes in and they're like, "Hey, I have this asset in my wallet, but I can't see it. I can't load it. It won't let me deposit or withdraw it." So you go to look it up and you find out that they've wrapped these funds all wonky by doing advanced IBC transfers. And my record so far is 12. 12 hops. It took 12
Wow.
transactions to unwrap.
Wow,
So
that is far
yeah,
beyond the record I've seen.
yeah, 12.
So they got their money back, though, right?
Yeah, all but like $3, and that's because they said they got
No,
tired
it's
of
all
trying to
$3.
track down the $3 because that was split into smaller transactions.
I would have let it go, to be honest, if I were that user, but it's okay. All those
So,
hops.
so that's where the funding goes to, Max, helping people for $3.
Oh yeah, you come in with any amount, we're helping.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter. You would be surprised on how many people we get coming in very, very upset that 74 cents are lost. And you'd also be surprised on how many people we have coming in. They're like, "Hey, I kind of misplaced, a lot of money." And you're like, "Holy crap." We get all types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most I've ever helped someone with, I think, was 8 million, and that was coming
8
over
million?
from $8
Yeah.
million
Yeah.
dollars. Yeah.
We've got
I
a
think
couple good questions in chat that I think would be good for me to answer. Kevin asked what the hardest part of being a junior admin was, and for me, what it is, and this is really it. The users sometimes don't know what their problems are, and that's the hardest part. You can spend upwards of an hour just having to teach people about Cosmos, teach people about IBC before you can even troubleshoot their problem. But at the end of the day, it gets not only the people more engaged in Osmosis, it gets them to stay, and they feel trusted in the community. There was another question too, which was sort of related to it, which is why I wanted to grab it. The hardest part of dealing with the Terra crash. That was like I think the whole Osmosis team was basically working like 24/7 for 3 days, basically, and everybody was doing just as much as they could to try and stay active with the information that was being passed around. In hindsight, I think a lot of us actually were kind of wrong with some of the information we shared, and we've learned about the importance of neutrality from Terra. And this is just some of those harder parts of being an admin. I know this is one thing I've mentioned as a personal note. I actually haven't ever given much advice as an admin, but I have one or two times, and it was through DMs. The person actually really persisted, and at the end of the day, I advised them to go into Terra. So I think about that a lot, and I have that over my head because this is just what it means to be in a responsible role and to have accountability. And that's why I really preach about being neutral and educating users about the risks. I don't care what coin gets listed on Frontier. I will call it a shit coin if it is not vetted and does not have the trust of the community, because I don't want to see users getting burned. And that's ultimately what I think my role is as a community support admin, because it's the users who are the product of Osmosis, and we want everyone to not just continue using Osmosis, but to not have a bad time using Osmosis.
From the signer side things with the Terra crash, what was hard for me was, you know, watching, because the admins themselves sit in Terra, a lot of them, and it's, myself included, and just seeing them, lose a lot of their funds, and having to, put on a brave face and go out there and do support for, helping users with the same issue that they're going through right now. That was hard for me to see. um and we at the time, we try to like come together and really, you know worry about the mental health of our admins and make sure that they had someone to speak with. And at that time we were asking our admin managers and seniors to do this kind of thing where they would um pair up with like an admin that might need someone to talk to, right? Because it's so lonely sometimes when you're offering that support, when you're facing that same issue yourself, right? And they're hearing these users vent and being frustrated, and they have to like maintain their professionalism. And that was, it's watching that in the chat was difficult for me, because when I would be DMing the admins, they would tell me about their own losses and things like that. So it was tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here in Discord, we actually opened a mental health channel around that time to give people a place to talk about their problems, because helping users move their funds, or trying to do what we can to help recover things, or telling them where to go and how to interact with the system is one thing. But kind of on a dime, we also had to become, mental health assistants as well, because people were just devastated over it. And we had to do what we could to help reach out and help, reaffirm people and tell people it's going to be okay and that they're going to pull through it. And personally, I think that was the hardest part.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I'm not going to call anyone out in particular, but there were, lots of stories of people getting talked down the ledge, down off the ledge during, not only the Terra crash, but the Osmosis exploit. Just sort of in that time period where it seemed like everything was going wrong. And some people really just needed people to talk to. And we did kind of take on that role because, for one, we offered it, right? Anyone that, needs to reach out to us ever about anything like that, we're here and we're available. But just also because we maintain an active presence in the community, and people knew that they could trust us to keep their information secret.
Too, I want to mention Terra was extremely eye-opening because getting into crypto, everyone says, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And people put their life savings into Terra. And, we were definitely talking people off the ledge. A lot of people were bringing up suicide and just not seeing it worth it for anything like that. So in hindsight, the message I'm constantly sharing to everyone going forward is if you're willing to take your life over losing money that you have in crypto, you are over invested. You definitely need to tone it back, take some money out of crypto, put it into a savings account in cash. Make sure you can cover yourself for tomorrow, and then have fun with smaller amounts in crypto, because it's a lot less stressful when you're ripping your hair out when the market goes down.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, thank you for giving us the opportunity to respond to that. Okay.
Since I started talking about the Terra incident, I'll just add one last closing note on that. I kind of felt like I didn't explain myself earlier well enough about the financial advice part. The part that made it so devastating was the sense of safety. And this was really, I think, the wake up call for me specifically. I don't know about everyone. I know we've all gotten more, we've tried to be more neutral after Terra, but the neutrality is for safety. We have to hold everybody to these high standards and be willing to admit that we were wrong at first glance, but still stand our ground because it's for the safety of the users and the community.
Yeah. Does anyone have other questions pertaining to anything?
Can you hover more over a certain name?
What's that, Joey? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
He's
Offer a.
he's trying to subtly shill.
Oh, I see. I didn't catch it.
No, I'm
Okay.
just joking. I'm enjoying
Gotcha, Joey.
the town hall.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for coming. Come on,
Well,
folks. Other
yeah, you
questions?
paid me to attend, so I'm here. Yeah.
Oh boy. Come on, folks. I know you got questions. I know you got things you're curious about. I know you're gonna bring it up. The prop goes on chain, and not now, right? I'm just kidding. That's probably off
Well,
table.
if I can ask a serious question, the
Yeah,
Mars
go right ahead.
protocol, how's the status on that?
Yeah,
I can take that one. They're waiting on I can't speak for the development of Mars and how they're doing on that end of it, but in terms of like an osmosis integration, the primary blocker there is they need Osmosis to release the to ship time weighted average pricing, which obviously hasn't been done yet. I know that the development priorities of the dev team right now they're focused on order books. I'd imagine that TWAP is still in the works, but yeah, that's what Mars is waiting on right now, and then I'm sure they've got other things that they're working on still on their end to deploy as well.
I ask a really basic question about Mars. What stablecoin are they actually going to be using now that UST is actually abolished?
You know what? Sony is openly talking about working with Circle to get native USDC on Osmosis.
Through Axlar?
No, native. So
Oh,
it'll
really?
be Osmosis USDC. Yeah, either Osmosis or some type of Cosmos USDC.
Oh, based. And would that be will that be used then in the Mars protocol?
It would probably be
it-
the safest option, but I don't know. I'm not sure what their plans are around that.
Yeah. There's a handful of stablecoin assets kind of starting to pop up around. They're definitely looking at doing it different than Terra. It seems like everyone's learning and trying to like go extremely over collateralized on that stuff.
Yeah, fair. Okay, sweet. Thanks a million, guys. I'll do a bit of research into MySO myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kevin asked a question that I think I'd like to respond to. He asked, let me just read the question for us. Is there anything or any support you're not getting as admins that you wish you could get? As a signer, I wish I can offer our admins, like greater job security. We're always having to go back on chain, and I don't mind that, of course, but and prove our worth to the community. But it's hard, because um I don't want anything happening. They take this job seriously. This is their livelihoods, right? So there's sometimes it is kind of hard to sleep when you think about that, because you want to ensure that like they have, um, they're making enough income to support themselves and offer the support. And it's hard to train up a new admin to find someone that's passionate. When we let our 5 go this prop cycle, that was tough. So I would be, I'm not sure how it would be feasible, but if and we can't offer anything like that, so we don't bring it up. But if we could, I would. Um, Also, like basic, I guess, amenities like like that normal jobs might have, like PTO, things like that. They don't have healthcare benefits. They don't have, and that bugs me a lot. But there isn't much we can ask for in the community during, especially during a bear. And there's always scrutiny over like spending and value, and support isn't you know uh, necessarily revenue generating. It's there for users so that they can it's the value it provides is indirect, like in terms of its monetary value, right? Like the liquidity you onboard, the users you retain, right? And it's hard to like pinpoint exactly, which factors responsible for that because there's so many moving parts that contribute to it. So, I think that makes it hard sometimes. It gets stressful for that reason. Personally, that's something that I guess the admins, they personally feel, but like, when that you got a big team like this and you want to ensure that like they can continue doing this and they won't just suddenly there's no net, right? If the prop fails, it fails, right? And getting the trust of the community to like vote for it again, that's not easy to um, it's not easy to have. So you just want to ensure that like you only got one shot at this, every 3 months, and you got to get it right, right? So like we're determined to always do that, but um it is difficult. So just want
Uh,
to
why
yeah.
can't we have a donate button or something? I mean, there sure are people that will donate, even if it's small amounts, to keep the support, I think.
That would be the yes vote on the prop.
Yeah, that
Cooking, yes.
that's
I will
amazing.
just state that 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 I think it's a nice idea, and you don't need to have to ask the delegators for permission. Anyone can donate.
I do
Yeah,
want to.
that's an interesting topic. We are actually the signers are working with a lawyer right now. We finally found a good lawyer, and we're going over legal boundaries and stuff. We are sometime next week. We're going to sit down and we're going to discuss how to frame our establishment. And I think right now we're leaning towards nonprofit because of the tax implications that come with something like that. And so if we did start going the route of letting the community tip the OSL itself, that would just open up some new tax awareness that we'd have to be aware of. I mean, if everything was hardcore to go that way, obviously we would adjust and pull ourselves to be prepared for that. But you guys can also feel free to just tip the admin directly if you want. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I did want to point out that if you are talking about direct tips, we do have the support bot that Felix and all of them have been working on. We have that integrated, or the tip bot here. We have Felix's tip bot integrated here. And I would prefer that people learn how to use the tip bot because it's not just the admins that really deserve tips. We have some really awesome community members that should, could also be recognized for their efforts via the tip bot. The tip bot is really nice.
Well, yes, but people in general are lazy. We are all lazy. We want things to be as easy as possible. So if a donation is not a one-click thing, people are too lazy to donate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
One thing that can mitigate this, I think, is seeing if the community would accept 6-month proposals. That would reduce, like, I guess you know, the feeling of instability. Like every 3 months you would have to like, you know, um, spend a week or so campaigning, right, to get that prop passed, right? So, if like I think that and there's a lot, and that's just um, visible actions you see, us doing publicly, but behind the scenes, we're making the budget work, we're making sure that the roster is looking good, that that any changes that need to be made are made, any initiatives that we want to do for the next quarter are included. Like and also like because it involves so much collaboration, you just absolutely need to set up all that beforehand. You can't just like allocate funds for it. You have to ensure that once the once the funds are there from the next prop, it's ready to run, right? And everyone knows is scheduled to like show up at a certain time to perform certain functions. So it's I think that can give us a longer runway to hopefully have more continuity. Like for instance, with this prop cycle, like we wouldn't have had enough funds to like implement on our website like the front end work, for instance. This was before the Osmosis devs, the front end devs there um, decided to convert it all into Webflow and work with us, right? But that concerns like that, of like funding running out for initiatives like that. So yeah, I think that's one way to help mitigate some of the instability there with the prop cycles. In the beginning, we chose to do 3 months because we wanted it to be more high touch with the community, so that the levers of accountability, if they felt like we weren't fulfilling our mandate, they can simply just vote no as soon as the next prop cycle comes up. But now that I think we've been here for roughly a year now, we've established ourselves as an integral part of the osmosis experience, and I think most users would be upset to see us and the admins not there to support them anymore. Sometimes you don't appreciate things that they're gone, right? That cliche, but you know I think it's something that the community wants to see continue to be funded. And with the FUD and things like that that happens, a lot of the times they'll have to, because we do our best absolutely to keep our conduct clean and to make our spending reasonable. And we try to ensure that we can always justify what we do in terms of expenditures, the resources we develop for the community. So like they have to resort to exaggerations, right? So a lot of the times that makes them vulnerable to, like a counterattack with facts, right? We just simply have to say like, no, your calculations are wrong, or this is a gross like, hyperbole, like whatever it might be, right? But it's still like having to like go out there and um like campaign every 3 months like this, and face down the FUD, and ensure that the misinformation doesn't is contained and doesn't spread. And if it's really actual like criticism against us, right, we take that very seriously and try to improve, right? We don't just ignore it or sweep it under the rug. We actually talk about like that is something that we can improve on. What can we do about it? And we have discussions about it, right? So and then implement it going forward. So it's truly like what governance is. We just try to do our absolute best um, to fulfill the governance approved mandate that the community has given us. And we all have our parts to play, and we expect them to we expect each person for role to perform it to their best, to the best of their ability. That's for sure.
I think we're coming up here on the close of our second hour, so we might want to consider maybe wrapping it up here soon. Are there any other final questions that anybody has for us or for the admins? Really, AMA, ask me anything. Can't promise we'll answer if it's, too personal or close, but any other questions?
What is your favorite VPN?
Stop it, Joey. I saw a question from a user earlier, and their question is echoing a question that a couple of us have had for a while. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to talk about it, but when merch store?
Okay. Hey, any OMM members here?
Yeah, that's more of a marketing question. I don't want to push any of the marketing folks to answer questions here that they're not ready to answer.
They'll answer all those details.
I don't mind popping in if you want.
Go ahead, Hitch.
Sure.
Just briefly, there's not much anything new. Everyone knows that there was a bit of an issue with the merch store in V1. So there was about a month of trying to get that sorted out. We've moved past it. We're not trying to waste any more time trying to sort that out. But yeah, it's coming. We know everyone's interested in the snapback hats and everything, so we've got to get that sorted out pretty soon.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're moving forward. OMM is moving forward with it, and that's great.
Yeah, we do have. There's a website that's been built out, which is from the Samurai guys, which is pretty awesome.
Same folks who built our support website and the same design crew that's done our how-to videos.
Yeah, so we're not at ground zero, but there was definitely a huge hiccup. So, it's being dealt with, but it's still going to be a little bit of a stretch here. So thanks for being patient, but I know it's definitely one of those things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any last questions before we ask Robo to close for the day?
So Flying Falcon had a question about Axler and gravity. This is another one of these topics that we deal in regularly. It is surrounding fungibility, and IBC channels are actually all uniquely non-fungible. So this means you can use Gravity Bridge and you can use Axler inside their own channels and chains and have non-fungible tokens. So you could have possibly experienced this trying to get to Diffusion recently or Canto. Basically, if you don't use Gravity Bridge in the right IBC channels, the tokens that come out on the other side aren't fungible with the proper liquidity sources. This can also happen with Axler on the layer 2s. They're working to have a wrapper contract so that you can swap directly from WETH on Osmosis into WETH on Polygon without actually being an Axler WETH. This is the blockchain engineering level stuff. As support, we kind of just understand it and know how to work with it and around it, but we aren't actively developing this stuff. So that was why we saved this question for the end, Flying Falcon.
I can get you. We have a YouTube video where pretty much Sonny was having an open discussion with the developers of the bridges and talking about the pros and cons of everything. I'll go ahead. I'll get that video and I'll post it in the chat for you.
Can I motion to close the meeting, guys? The town hall? Do I have a second?
So everyone that doesn't want to fund to support can go fuck themselves.
Oh no, come on, Joey.
That's not from the OSL.
Yeah. Let's let them choose. Let's let them choose. Let our work speak for itself. Yeah.
No, and
yeah, again,
just the
mhm,
just the final point too. Like, you know, everyone who kind of brings up the cons basically and kind of puts down anything that we might be doing, we take that feedback and we try to integrate it. You know, we try to make it so that we're listening, even if it sounds like you're a troll or something. You know, we definitely are listening. We're definitely trying to mold this so that it's something everyone can get behind and everyone can agree. We wouldn't be as on point like we are today if it wasn't for the community really trying to push us to be our best.
and we sincerely appreciate that. Sometimes, you know, when you're at the job and you're working on something, you just don't see like the bigger pictures like that, you know, because you're so focused. And then when you take a step back from someone's perspective, right? You know, there are lessons to be drawn there, and you know, we're better for it when we implement it. So you know, criticism is, I think, one of the key drivers of how we've improved, and you know, we welcome it, and we just hope that you know it's um, you know whatever is being said, it's truthful and it comes from a good place. And if we think that yeah, that is sincere criticism that you know we need to act on, right? Then absolutely we need to do something about it. You know, and that's our mentality here. You know, always you know trying to move forward with you know what good governance is, what good governance is, um, and making sure that the community will find reason to support us. I think that's really important. That you know we're not entitled to this; that we have to earn it every time. So it's very important to us. So
Well,
should I?
I believe it shouldn't even be up for discussion for
I
like
know what you
every
mean.
3 months.
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
we'll extend the runtime to 6 months. The community might, you know, because that doubles the ask essentially. You know, that sticker shock. I think, you know, we need to let the community know that's what we're planning to do, and you know, that takes a certain amount of trust from them, right? Because, you know, we'll be running for longer without coming back on chain, right? So they'll have to see us as you know, good custodians of the funds that they've entrusted to us.
Yeah, and just want to add there, you know, I definitely appreciate all the support there, Joey, but we are and we've always have been a community funded organization. All of our admins here are Osmosis community members, um, and we serve at the pleasure of the community. You know, so I don't think that we would ever take any steps that would circumvent the governance process. I think it's, you know, sometimes it's a little exhausting, but it's definitely necessary to keep the chain decentralized. You know, there are options to reduce that burden a little bit. Um, you know, extending the runtime to 6 months is a good, you know, good potential option. But you know, this should always be something that's subject to community governance.
yeah, I agree on that. I just find it hard that people have this as a job and just don't know if they will still work on it the next 6 months. I mean, how can you sometimes sleep at night if 5 months have passed, knowing if you can make it the next month or not?
Yeah, no, that's very real. I actually just had my old car was kind of breaking down, and I was at the point where I either had to sell it or basically run it into the ground. So I chose to sell that car, and then I took out a loan to get a new one that was more reliable. Um, and so it's very real in the back of my head that now I have this massive liability. I have a car payment, which is all normal stuff. I mean, it is what it is. It's what I'm signed up for. But in the back of my head, I have many doomsday scenarios of like, okay, if this happens, um, I guess I'll go this direction, or I'll go in that direction, or I'll try to figure out some way like this. Um, that the bug was a really big eye opener, because looking at the protocol level, I feel like Osmosis is the most secure DEX. And then just to see that even just a small mistake from the developer side in the code, you know, my life flashed before my eyes that night, and I was like, oh damn, it's over. But I'm glad we landed the way we did, and we really stayed on our feet. But it's definitely in the back of our heads. I would say probably for all of us that, you know, this is a high risk job.
Yeah, it certainly is. And for someone like me, I have multiple dependents, so it's a bit more of a worry for someone in my shoes because there's multiple people that depend on me, and then depending on a job that is not guaranteed can make things a little rough.
Yeah.
Well, it's just basic things like when you want to buy a home, you go to the bank. What are you going to tell them? I make magic internet money? I mean, it's just so unfair, and people sometimes forget you guys are also people, and they just look at it the way from it's going to cost me this much, so I will get less tokens, and they forget the humanity inside it.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
no,
And
yeah, we definitely appreciate you maintaining that perspective. It's very real. We're just community members too. We are providing authentic service. You know, we're not trying to slick anyone on any type of stuff. We're trying to be as much transparent, upfront about everything as possible. We're just working a job. This is just a business, and it just happens to be built on magic internet money.
yeah, and your bank, your comment about the bank kind of highlights some, that's some of the stuff we deal with too. Magic internet money isn't taken seriously even by the financial sector. Imagine that. It's, securing loans based off of the way that we get paid and how much we make is just another one of those hurdles. Loans, taxes, there's a lot of hurdles that come with magic internet money.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is, it's developing, right? I firmly believe that one day we'll be able to, use block scanners as a method to verify income for loans, or use cryptos as collateral for a loan, to purchase a home or what have you. But I mean, in the meantime, when we're onboarding people and new admins, we're very clear about this. Is look, hey, we have a budget. It's for 3 months. This is not guaranteed. The best way to guarantee that funding keeps coming in is to do your absolute best. Make sure that the community sees the value in the work that you're providing. And I do think that that's helpful not only in encouraging people to work, to do their very best, but it also gets the community the support they deserve. That the admin that's helping them is giving them 100% at all times.
Yeah, we'll have more events like these, guys. I see the feedback, and it humanizes the admins, and it truly shows like the kind of uh, difficulties they face in helping users, and they will not rest until that user gets the help they need. Like I've seen it. I've seen tickets go on for hours. I've seen like multiple channels having to be engaged with different chains and things like that, reaching out to different teams, right, to make things work. The admins will not um, will not just let a user who can be helped further go. They'll make sure that their issues are resolved, and that's something that I really admire in when I observe the admins work here. Yeah, thank you guys. Should I motion to close the meeting, guys? The town hall. All right. Yeah, is everyone okay with all the questions? Anything else? I think we're good. Yeah. Okay. Robo,
Yeah,
would you like to close? Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So just as a closing note, I just want to say, that it's been a really, really great experience working with this community over the last 9 months. And, looking forward to continue doing that. I am constantly humbled by the amazing community that we have. You know, I think this community is one of a kind. It's something rare and it's something worth maintaining. And I'm just, really proud of everyone here in the community. I'm proud of all the admins, and I'm proud of my fellow multi-sig signers. Just, really happy to be here. With that, we will be we'll be around. We're always here, right? So you can visit us here in the Discord. Come talk to us in general chat, trading dungeon, which is where the DGens hang out. Come hang out with us in Telegram. Ask us your questions, and definitely heard the feedback. About having more events like this. We'll take that to heart. I actually really enjoyed this, so I'm looking forward to doing more stuff like this in the future as well. So with that, we will we'll see y'all in chat. Thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
everyone for coming out.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Take care.